Hi Aries, and welcome to your horoscope for September 2024. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm doing this horoscope a little differently, so please watch them in this order. Rising sign first, then sun sign, and finally your moon sign. And please note that I'm in the UK, so my horoscopes are based on the UK time zone. I'm going to break down the month into 4 separate weeks, and I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing. The moon stays in each sign of the zodiac for 2.5 days approximately. So in any given week, we've got the moon in 3 or 4 signs, which has a huge influence on what that week is going to be like for you. But I'm also going to look at what houses it goes through, so what area of your life this shows up in. The first bit of good news that we have is that on the 28th of August, Mercury, the communication planet, went direct, and it now stays direct for the entirety of September. So if you had any problems with communication or transportation in August, or you even found yourself being a little self-critical, expect that to really ease off. So let's start with week 1, Sunday to Sunday, 1st to 8th of September 2024. And when I mention the beginning of the week, I mean Monday, Tuesday, middle of the week is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, end of the week, Saturday, Sunday. So at the beginning of the week, we have the moon in Virgo, and that goes through your 6th house of work, daily routine, structure, and physical health. The moon is the way you feel, right? And Virgo is very good at being analytical, gathering all the information together, researching it, studying it in order to come up with meaning. Virgo can also be associated with the nurse. It's someone who tends to a problem in a physical, practical, kind of hands-on way. So at the beginning of September, you're going to find that getting your physical health sorted, organized, if you want to make any changes to your exercise routine or to the way you eat, or the structure of your daily routine, how long do you spend commuting, what is it that you do, you're able to rejig those and improve them. But what's also interesting is that on the 2nd of September, we have Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, that retrogrades back into Capricorn on the 2nd of September, and it stays there until the 19th of November this year. I made a separate video on this in January. It's really an important shift because in January, Pluto moved into Aquarius. Now it retrogrades for the last time. And when it goes back into Aquarius on the 19th of November, it then stays there until February 2044. So we're entering this whole new era where there's the rebirth of ideas and it's about humanity and people coming together. With this final retrograde, in your case, Aries, it happens in your 10th house of career. So it allows you to adapt your work, what you do for work, and it prompts you to question whether that's still right for you. When you then combine that with the Virgo energy you have in your 6th house, you're really going to be able to analyze very, very well whether this job is still right for you, whether any changes need to be made. On the 3rd of September, that energy peaks because we have a new moon in Virgo. So the moon is pitch black. It pulls in even more Virgo energy into your 6th house. And it's really like, what seeds do you want to plant? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to grow in future as it relates to the practical, physical circumstances of your life? And that does include your body and your career and your money and your living situation. Something that influences you for the entire month, not just this first week. On the 4th of September, we have Mars, the planet of ambition and drive and masculinity. That ingresses into Cancer until the 3rd of November. So your family relationships, your home, what makes you feel rooted and grounded, that's going to be very, very important. And the more time you can spend with people you're close to or areas that have special meaning for you, the better this will go. Once the moon exits Virgo, it goes into Libra on the 5th of September, and it moves into your 7th house of relationships. So the middle of the first week, the 3rd, 4th, 5th of September, that's very good for networking, connecting with people who you may need to influence or who you want to work with. It's a good time for collaborations, it's a good time for teamwork, but it's also a great time for friendship, meeting new people, and expanding your social network. At the end of the week, the moon goes into Scorpio and it goes into your 8th house, and the 8th house can be associated with what's hidden, the occult, the other side. It can also be associated with big groups of people, big organizations that influence the way you live and govern your life. So literally the government or taxes or inheritances. With the moon being in Scorpio in that 8th house, I think the weekend, the 6th and 7th of September, is very much about you going inwards and connecting with your own imagination, doing any personal healing that needs doing, working creatively, but it gives you the opportunity to connect with something that's outside of you, that's beyond you, especially if it exists in the spiritual realm. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, 9th to 15th of September 2024, we start this second week with the moon being in Sagittarius. And it's in your 9th house of travel, of education, of the higher realms. And the moon in Sagittarius is very adventurous. It wants to explore something. It wants to set goals and then move towards them. So on the 9th and 10th of September, you're going to feel very, very drawn towards new information and new places, things that are unfamiliar, things that fill you with motivation and inspiration. So if you're able to take any time off on the 9th and 10th of September, it'll be very rewarding, and it's likely that you bump into something that has to do with your life purpose. At the beginning of this second week as well, we have Mercury, the communication planet, that enters Virgo. And it enters Virgo until it goes into Libra on the 13th of October. So Mercury rules Virgo. It's very happy in that placement. And Mercury rules two signs, right? It rules Gemini and Virgo. So when Mercury's in Gemini, it's about I express, I communicate, I put things out there. When it's in Virgo, it's about I listen, I learn, I study, I make sense of. And again, that Mercury now joins your Sun and Midheaven investor, all in Virgo in your 6th house of work and daily routine. So from the 9th of September onwards, you're really able to make sense of all of your circumstances, and you'll be able to determine what is it that I like and I want to maintain and even grow, and what don't I like anymore and what do I want to get rid of. And it's particularly in the area of your career or your physical practical circumstances. The moon then goes into Capricorn in the middle of the week, the 11th, 12th and 13th, and that goes into your 10th house of career. So this part of the month is the most productive when it comes to your work. Anything that needs adapting, but any work that actually needs doing, you'll be incredibly productive and you'll be able to knock that out very well and very quickly, very accurately. So if you have a lot on, try and do it around the middle of the month here. You'll get things done much quicker than you usually would. And on the 11th of September, we have the moon in its second quarter, and that is at 22 degrees. So really the question then is, where do I want to go with my career? What's the big picture here? Am I just living day to day, moment to moment, paycheck to paycheck? Or do I have some sort of bigger vision for my work? And how can I flesh that out, and how can I make that a real thing? So there's a desire and there's a search for meaning here. At the end of the week, on the 14th and 15th of September, we have the moon in Aquarius, and that's in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So that's when you really stop being as productive and you stop being so grounded and interested in getting things solved or completed. And this is much more about taking a bit of time for yourself and considering what could be, but specifically considering what could be in your life. What would your ideal future look like? It's the opportunity to dream and to come up with information that you may not have been aware of so far, and that then allows you to set new goals for the future, and you're able to identify these things that you would like to see that are important to you, so you can actually work towards manifesting them in future. So if you have the time to, again, take a little bit of time off around the 14th, 15th, also the beginning of that second week was good for that. So between the 9th and 15th of September, if you're not constantly going, but just make sure in the middle of that week you get things done, it's a great time to rest and recharge, then be very productive, and then at the end of that to have a bit of a break again. Week 3, we've got Monday to Sunday, the 16th to 22nd of September. At the beginning of the week, we have the moon in Pisces, and that's now in your 12th house of spirituality and strength. So on the 16th and 17th of September, again, The focus isn't going to be on productivity, on working. It's still daydreaming, but it's not just about what could be. Now it's about what are the higher realms telling me? What do my guides, what are they leading me towards? If you have a spiritual practice, that'll be very easy and productive on this day, in the sense that it gives you a lot of information of what the universe, your higher self, wants you to do for your life. In my experience, it's much more rewarding if you connect to the higher realms and get an understanding of what needs to be done than if you just figure it out on your own on an intellectual level. So the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th of September, I would really say, is about you receiving the right message, discovering what your purpose, what your dream is, so that you can move forward and actualize it. What's interesting as well about the beginning of the third week is that we have a supermoon on the 17th of September, and that's the second supermoon in a row. Supermoon is a moon that looks a lot bigger than a regular moon because it's closer to us, so it appears larger and it has a stronger influence on us. So this is a supermoon in Pisces. It's a full moon, and it's also a lunar eclipse on the North Node. So eclipses are significant because they affect us for not just a couple of days, but really 6 months. And I'll make a separate video on this to go into more detail. But what happens here for you guys is that the moon is in your 12th house of spirituality. So you'll get these huge downloads that are going to influence the way you feel about your life, your circumstances. Remember, the sun is still in Virgo in your 6th. So it's not just you kind of making changes and adapting your daily routine. It's letting the universe inform you as to what changes will work best. And you can really get some fabulous downloads here during the full moon in Pisces. That's a super moon. The middle of the week then, the moon moves into Aries, into your sign, and it's in your first house on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And that's very much about now jumping into action and doing things that you feel are to do with your life mission, your purpose, and also to heal disappointments of the past. You're in builder mode. This is what I want to create. I'm no longer daydreaming. I'm jumping into action. You see, whereas week 2 was much more passive in terms of I'm receiving things, week 3 here is very much about how can I use my energy in order to build concrete circumstances in my life that I can then experience in a good way. In the middle of the week, the moon goes into Taurus and it stays in your second house. So expect good news as far as your finances are concerned around the 18th, 19th, and 20th of September. But also if there are any business opportunities or if there are opportunities to invest, to build, to save, to create anything that's like a nest egg for you, something that you can rely on in future. Use these 3 days to devote yourself to that. You'll really be able to make a lot of inroads there. On the 22nd of September, we have the sun going into Libra. And the sun goes into Libra in your 7th house of relationships. So what I said earlier with Mars in Cancer at the bottom of your chart saying, you know, my most intimate personal relationships are, I care about those. I want those to be good. And with Libra having been in your 7th, in Libra, Venus in Libra as well in your 7th, relationships for the entire month are likely to be not just about, you know, friends and things being superficial and do I get on with colleagues. Yes, you can do all of that, but there's an opportunity to take this to a deeper level and to strengthen a relationship to the point where that person becomes part of your family and they're significant to you that way. So at the end of the 3rd week, we've got the moon going into Gemini in your 3rd house of communication, and it joins Jupiter, the lucky planet of growth and expansion. So anything that needs promoting, anything that you need to write, whether it's an instruction booklet or it's a novel or anything that has to do with advertising, marketing, the public, anything where you're trying to get a lot of attention and you have something to present or to produce, do it around this time of the month, the 21st and 22nd. That's when you're most supported in ensuring that the message reaches a lot of people. So if you've got a manuscript that you're pitching to a publisher, this is the time of the month to do it. Working out any kind of complex issues where you need to use your intellect to kind of see your way through, these are the days to really find a better way forward and to connect with a great number of people. Week 4, Monday to Sunday, the 23rd of September to the 30th of September, we start this final week with the moon being in Cancer, and it joins Mars in Cancer in your 4th house. So really this last week, and I would say the 23rd, 24th and 25th of September, you're very, very focused on going home. And not just your physical location home, but also I want to be around the people who make me feel like home. I want to have this sense that I belong. On the 23rd of September, we have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and sexuality, going into Scorpio until the 17th of October, and it goes into your 8th house, again, the taboo, the other. So this really means that the final week of September, you're going to be interested in the physical connection you have with someone you're close to. And it's really kind of like hibernating. The two of us just want to go for a weekend and explore each other. It's that kind of vibe. So intimacy, anything that allows you to have a sense of connection with another person is going to work really well. It's going to make you feel like I am home. But also connecting on a spiritual level would work. And anything that's governed by water. So creativity, healing. And it could even be as abstract as I want to heal my relationship with my employer so that I feel like I belong there, I'm going home, rather than I have to spend 8 hours a day doing something I don't really connect with. The moon's in its 4th quarter on the 24th of September. And again, that is really a huge focus on the family. Who loves me, who doesn't, and how do I get clear around that? And it's not kind of judgmental. It's much more about, which relationships do I put a lot of time and effort into, and what do I get from those as a result? In the middle of the week, the moon goes into Leo around the 26th and 27th, and that's really a fun time to play and to treat your inner child and to do things you enjoy. It's also a good time to spend with family members doing something fun, but there's also an opportunity for you to present, to be in the spotlight, to lead, and to enjoy the attention and the admiration that you get from other people. On the 26th of September, we've got Mercury ingressing into Libra until the 13th of October, and unsurprisingly, it joins all your other Libra energy in your 7th house of relationships. So the focus on all relationships is now very strong. It's very likely, Aries, that you can get on with anybody in this last week of the month. So please, if you have to make connections in work to get a project off the ground, or if you want to hang out with friends, or if you want to meet a new partner, anything that involves you being able to connect, having balanced relationships that work harmoniously, the end of the month is really a good time to look at that. And the final few days, and I'm adding on another day, so the 28th, 29th, 30th of September, we've got the moon in Virgo in your 6th house. So it kind of comes full circle. And this really is now, what have I done in September? What messages have I received from Source, especially in the 3rd week with the eclipse? And how am I now taking action steps to build my dream? And I'm being supported in doing that around the end of the month. So for you, Aries, September is beautiful in the sense that you really get to understand where you are in terms of the everyday doings of your life, like your job and the house you live in. You also have this wonderful sense of support from the people in your life, and you have no problems connecting to people. So I think it's that security and that sense of support. This person is my home, because you have access to that. That's why it becomes easier to make these changes to your career, because it's like, I already have something that makes me feel safe. If I was totally at a loss here, I would feel insecure about this, but I don't. So those are the areas where you're really supported. And I think if you can, at the beginning of the month, just pick 1 or 2 or 3 people who kind of have your back, and schedule something with them, then you're going to be able to make these massive improvements in your working life, and you'll end September in a position that feels much more solid and secure and richer than you went moving into the month. So I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with here. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. I draw up your birth chart by taking your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, that's not an issue. Then order a chart rectification with me, please. That's a process where I manually work out your time of birth based on 10 or more life events that you send me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. But do check out my website for all the other things that I offer. And I hope this has given you something to go on. Have a wonderful September, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.